there. Welcome. Happy Monday to you and you and you and you and you and you. Welcome to the Melanated Way. I'm Linda Antwi. We have April as well, my co-host on Monday nights. Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Excuse me looking like a vagabond. I could just not get it together today. I was telling April behind the scenes that I don't know what's going on, but seriously, I'm playing catch up. I don't even know what's going on. I'm just saying. So don't judge.
Times two. Don't judge. Times two. A lot of things are happening this week.
That's it.
Last year. Okay.
Yeah. So, it's all good. We're still fierce. That being said, shout out to the live chat. I always forget to do this, so you guys don't forget to like and subscribe. What up, Joslo, Amanda, Rebecca, all y'all. Holla. Bottom of the screen. I'll keep that there for a little bit where you can support the show and all the things. And don't forget to also follow April on her YouTube page as well. And April, we were talking, and I want to get this out of the way first. A little bit of tea, a little bit of newsy gossip. For those of you guys that are part of my Patreon family, on Saturday when we did news and gossip, we touched on this, and I told you that I would ask April on Monday. So here I am asking April on Monday for the good answers. So the first thing we wanted to talk about was Memphis and Hamza. So as you guys may or may not know, Memphis and Hamza have finalized their divorce. And so he has a conditional 2-year visa. And I believe April will talk about what the 2-year conditional visa is. And after those 2 years, it's up in the air right now whether or not he's going to be able to stay. And one of the qualifications, my understanding, is that they've had to have known each other a long time prior to getting married. But I'm going to go ahead and let the immigration lawyer, speak on it.
Yes. So if your marriage is less than 2 years, then your first visa or your first residency card is going to be conditional. And that doesn't matter if you were married and then did the petition, or if you came on a fiance visa and did the petition. That same 2-year rule applies. Now, when you go to remove conditions to move from a 2-year to a 10-year residency, you can either do that as a joint filing because you're still married to the person, or you can ask for a waiver of joint filing. A waiver of joint filing is available if you're now divorced, but you were married in good faith and you can prove that you were married in good faith, or if it would be a hardship to you to be forced to return to your home country. So there are waivers available. I do think Hamza would probably qualify for one of those waivers. All he has to do is show that when he arrived in the United States, they did spend some time living together. He did intend for them to have a relationship together. It's not a super hard burden to get over, so long as he's able to show, some documentation that it was a real bona fide, that's the language they use is bona fide, a bona fide marriage.
Oh, wow. So he has the ability to possibly stay, is what you're saying?
Yes, he does.
Okay. And then the second couple that has been hitting the news and gossip circuit lately is Eve and Mohammed. And as you guys may or may not know, long story short, there were some allegations of domestic abuse on Mohammed's part by Eve. She got arrested and charged. And just the other day, just on Friday, I believe, they dropped the charges on her. So she's no longer criminally liable. She's not going to court. There's no court date. The district attorney dropped her charges. Mm-hmm. Now, what we're hearing, the word on the internet streets, is that Eve's attorney is then going to go ahead and now sue, if that's the right word, Mohammed for immigration fraud. And he went and told a major publication that he doesn't care about that. He's like, if I have to go back to Egypt, I will. What are your thoughts on that? Is he going to be able to stay in the country, especially because, they did not know each other at all. There were red flags even from the beginning. And she caught him on the tell-all, cheating and texting other women. So is his case a little bit harder to prove?
Yeah. So, first of all, I don't think that Muhammad would have been eligible to get his first residency, the conditional residency, just based off that text message alone. Because if I remember it correctly, it was when I'm done with Eve, I'll come find you, or something to that effect. That something that indicates the marriage was not bona fide, but that he was doing it just for the purpose of immigration. Um, so he would not, on face, look that he's eligible for any kind of residency, conditional or um, 10-year. What I think that he was hoping for is to get a U visa. A U visa is for people who have been victims of crime in the United States. It's not any crime, there's a list of crimes that qualify. And then, if you're helpful to law enforcement and the prosecution of that crime, they can choose to sign a certification for you to ask USCIS for this particular kind of visa. The problem that Muhammad would have here is that even if he made it past that first step, USCIS still has discretion whether or not to issue you that visa. And if I was the decision maker and I'm looking at this other marriage record and his U visa request at the same time, I would be inclined to deny it. Would you not?
100%. And all the things that first of all, he's a cheater. So you didn't even make it to a few months because they were married for less than a year, you guys. He didn't even make it a few months before he was cheating. And then he goes all on social media and all through the interwebs talking about this other woman. And there literally are the receipts out there to show that there was no good faith there. And the fact that he then said, and there are text messages to this, that the girl that he was cheating with, it was his plan and her plan all along to have this fallback plan. And the fallback plan allegedly was, hey, we're going to make these alleged false allegations about domestic violence.
Yeah.
Like,
and if the
what
charges
kind of
have
person
been,
does that?
what kind of person does that? I don't know. Like
It's
a
terrible.
wretched person. I mean, not only were you using this woman, but then you were trying to ruin her life.
Right. And she's a single mom to a
Yeah,
child that, has special needs. How dare
exactly.
you come over
How
here because you're looking for, like Mama Karen says, you're looking to harvest the American dollar.
how dare he become a part of that child's life knowing that he never intended to be there long term? I understand things happen sometimes, but that child is vulnerable.
100%. But you know what, April? Again, what type of person is this? Because even in text messages, you see him saying disparaging things about that child. So at the end of the day, like, he has shown who he truly is. And to me, it just doesn't look good.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't think a decision maker, even the most benevolent officers they have working there, would have a hard time with wanting to grant him the U visa.
That part. Joslo says a user is someone who does that. You are right, Joslo. Ding, 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 ding. And Amanda says, my husband and I still say tomatoes, like he said, but yikes, bad. Shout out to Amanda, by the way, for coming in the live chat early. That has not happened in all the years. So let's just all go ahead and give her a round of applause. If you're in the live chat, just go ahead and give her a round of applause. I'm sure she'll appreciate it.
Go, Amanda, go.
That being said, let's She said never ever or in my life. Joslo. Okay, so let's jump into the episode. Season 4 of The Other Way, episode 5. Lies here, not what is I can't even read my own writing. Lies here got no legs. That's what it says. Lies here got no legs. Okay, so I just want to give my disclaimer off the bat that today I might be on one, and you guys know when I get on one, I can't stop it. But I'm going to tell you something. I feel like TLC, I just got a shiver because I'm about to talk about it. And Sharp Entertainment, they must have heard my ways and they're punishing me right now because between the teeth situation And cats, there are too many cats and too many snaggly ass teeth that you guys, I can't. Like, I'm squirmish and I don't like some stuff. I understand that it's not probably logical why I can't, but I just can't. I can't. Okay. So I may say some things that might come out of my mouth or my face might look screwed up. I'm just giving the warning. Like, I cannot. I was having a problem. Like, I had to take a break. That's why we're rushing and we weren't 6:45. And we were 7 starting today because I had to keep taking breaks because I can't with all the like ugh. Like, why? And you guys, okay, just one more thing. And then like the baby teeth, like you got this baby tooth that I just feel like I should just pull it out. Why is it on top of another tooth? Okay. Okay. So that being said, we are going to talk about Mahmoud and Nicole first and foremost. I was screaming at my TV saying, "Go home, my love. Go home. Go home, honey. Go home. Go home, sweetie. Go home." Because the amount of times that they said "my love, sweetie," and honey was like nauseating to me, April.
Is this because they can't be physically affectionate? Is that why it's so overdone on the verbal?
But why can't they? Aren't they married?
I thought like out in public they're not allowed, or like around other people they're not allowed to be like physically affectionate. Because I too was grossed out by it, and I was like, maybe they're doing it because they can't like hold hands.
I mean, but it's over the top. Like, it's almost disingenuous at this point. They're about to start a fight, and they're like, "Oh, nothing's wrong, my love. I love you." Are you upset? No, I love you, my love. Why are you crying? Oh no, sweetie, I love you. Like, just stop it. Just whatever that is, stop it. I'm not into it. You guys sound ridiculous, and I'm not here for it. So we hear that they fought a lot the first night. It's now in the morning, and Nicole's taking her shower, and Nicole is about to have a meltdown in 3, 2, 1.
Go.
She is squeegeeing the floor. She's explaining how a lot of places in Egypt, or the bathrooms in Egypt, are like that. She likes to take a long time. It's her me time in the morning to get ready. And by a long time, I mean a really long time. And then throw in that she wanted to go ahead and do a monologue in front of the mirror and have a full-on breakdown. That's exactly what happened. She did a full-on monologue, how, she's upset and she starts crying. She's already homesick. She's only been there for 24 hours. She doesn't know she's going to make it. She can't understand. She's missing her life. She's grieving her life and she can't take it. I can't believe it. And I don't know what's going to happen. Oh, fuck off. Okay. No one forced you to get on the plane. You knew you did not want to be there, and yet here we are. So I personally am having a hard time having any sympathy for you. April?
I too was wondering, if you have so many friends and you're having a hard time adjusting, you knew you were going to have a hard time adjusting, why didn't you just ask somebody to come with you for a week or 2?
But how? She's been there. She lived there for 2 months.
Yeah, but
are you trying to tell me that she thought a whole country was going to change in the time that she went back to Los Angeles and was like a Uber Eats driver and thought that she was going to pop back up in Egypt and everything was going to be different?
No, like that part makes absolutely no sense. But I would say, like, if I'm going to go somewhere and I know that I'm going to be a little homesick when I get there, but I want to be there, I would just ask one of my friends to go with me for a week or 2. Just for the transition. Wouldn't that be like a lot? Okay, never mind. I'm asking her to do logical things.
I was just about to say, April, you're using your logic. You're using your common sense. And I've yet to see that from this woman.
Yeah, we haven't seen her display very much common sense.
Name one time, April. Name one time.
I don't have one. I mean... I don't understand. All of this is like against her will. Here's your pizza.
Amanda, you're a hot mess. You're a hot mess. So she's having a full meltdown. And I do have to say this part, and don't come for me because I already told you the disclaimer at the top that I'm probably gonna be talking crazy. But she has this full meltdown in the mirror, and it just gave me like sociopath vibes. Like someone in the live chat said, like, and yeah, Kathy said, "Hey, Kathy, who was she even talking to?" She was talking to herself in the mirror, which, I sometimes talk to myself, but I don't talk to myself and have a full on meltdown and look at myself like, oh my God, I'm so upset. I can't believe it. Like, she might as well have just thrown in the third person there and called it a day. It was very bizarre.
She's clearly made the camera people into her friends, and I wonder how much they hate that.
They hate it. Trust. If you've been on any type of, they're working. They don't mind it if you're on break or if it's after hours, but when they're working and they're on a time frame and a budget and they got to get the shot, we're not trying to have a conversation with you and your friends. We're working right now.
They hate her then because I'm sure that she's been assigned women, and I'm sure that she's trying to force them into friendship with her.
Oh, 100%. And to side with her.
Yes.
So she's homesick. She realizes that she's not on the same page as her husband. She's grieving the fact that she has no apartment in LA anymore. And she's just hoping that they can figure it all out. And so meanwhile, Mahmoud's mom is like, where did the bathroom swallow your wife? Like, go check on her. What's happening? Is she okay? Did she pass out? Because, she's fragile up in there and she's just a mess and she doesn't have common sense. She's like a pretty little bird. Fragile, pretty to look at. But, they will fly into a glass window if they're not paying attention. That, to me, describes Nicole.
Yeah.
So she's like, oh, I'm okay. I'm just finishing up. And she comes out and she's a hot mess. Hair's wet. You can tell that her eyes are red, that she's been crying. He's like, what's wrong? You've been crying. She's like, no, my love. Everything is okay. I love you. No, my love. I want to be here. I don't want you to think that you're the reason why I'm upset. I'm just grieving leaving Los Angeles. I'm grieving my previous life. Bitch, if you do not stop making this a telenovela, stop it. Stop it. Again, no one twisted your arm. You decided on your own, knowing that it was a bad idea for you and your personality, to go back.
Oh, at the same time, that conversation annoyed me they had when she came out the bathroom, because if she's just going to say how she feels, why are you going to turn it into, now I'm feeling bad because you're saying that? Like,
yeah, but that's what I don't get about her. I honestly, because she literally 5 seconds ago in the bathroom said she was homesick and had a breakdown. She comes into the living room or to the bedroom, sits down with her husband, and then says, well, I want to be here. I chose to be here to be with you. And literally, if you look at my notes, it says, what? You just 5 seconds ago, you said you don't want to be here. Now you chose to be here and you don't want him to feel bad?
Yeah. And she's like, I gave up my apartment, so I'd have no choice but to stay here. Sounds like a you problem, Nicole.
Yeah, that part. Which is it? Grieving the death of your old life? Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. So Muhammad, God bless him, because he has more patience than I would ever have. So Muhammad decides that, he's going to take Nicole out in the neighborhood to try to make her feel more comfortable because, it's only been 24 hours and she's already gone from 0 to 1,000, running amok in her head, having breakdowns and fights and all the things. And it's only been 24 hours. So he feels like if he takes her out, let her get acclimated with the neighborhood, that maybe she'll finally be ready to accept her new lifestyle. So she's getting ready and, she's like, how do I look? And then she can't find her shoes and she's asking him. And I'm like, how is he going to know where you packed your shoes?
How is her stuff misplaced this fast?
Right. Like, this is what I'm saying. I don't feel like she's all together there, April, because you just got there. How could your shoes already be missing? It's weird. So Mahmoud is like, well, if she can finally get ready, it takes her a whole day to get ready. Maybe we can go out into the neighborhood. Karen says, I think she loves her clothes and makeup attention more than her husband. Something is going on with her. Face orange raised eyebrow. I think that she likes the luxury of the lifestyle that she's been living. And I know, April, you had that theory that, she was a trust fund baby.
My theory.
And I feel like your theory is standing up because she kind of has also, and I'm not saying all trust fund babies, I'm just talking about Nicole specifically. I feel like Nicole has no common sense. I feel like she has no street cred, but I also feel like she doesn't have logic. Like she wasn't taught logic. And I'm not saying, well, maybe I am saying no, well, and no socialization skills. And here's why I say that, April. I was going to say this later, but I'm going to say it now. You ever been around someone? There's two examples I'm going to give. First example, you ever been around someone, April, that has that weird, awkward energy and maybe they move a little bit?
Yes.
Okay, I used to have a manager that was like that. Like he was like so all the time. So when you talk to him for too long, it felt like it was wearing off on you. Like, oh, why are you? What? Whoa! What is that energy?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she has this weird, awkward energy. And then the second thing is, if you're on the dance floor and you're like moving and shaking and you're dancing to the music and you're like vibing, and then you turn your head and you see someone who's like and then it throws your vibe off for a little bit, that's her. Like that's her to me. Like that, if I had to describe Nicole, that's what I would describe. Like 1 minute she's having a breakdown, the next minute she looks like, what's the saying, you guys? A deer lost in headlights.
Deer in headlights. Yeah.
Deer in headlights. And then other times she looks scared. Other times she looks like perplexed, but it's all like this. Like I look crazy, right? Because that's how she looks. She's like, what are you doing? Because you're throwing my whole peace and love vibe off.
I don't know what the deal is with her. Somebody said earlier that she has like a very flat affect, and I don't know what is happening in here with her at all. It's very bizarre, especially us knowing that she lived there previously.
Yeah.
It just doesn't really. Not only did she live there previously, but she's had all this time that she hasn't been there to like try and come to terms with these cultural differences, and she has not. So it's just very very bizarre to watch her in this environment.
Absolutely. And she just doesn't make us, the viewers, feel comfortable. Like no. I'm always wondering what she's about to do next, that I'm going to be like, oh, that was weird and awkward and uncomfortable.
It makes me incredibly uncomfortable. Like, I don't agree with some of the things that are happening there, but it makes me uncomfortable that she insists on pushing up against the culture that way.
Yeah, agreed. I agree with that statement 100%, April. I may not agree with all the things that go on, but also that was not my culture and it's not my country, but I am going to respect the fact that it's their culture and their country.
Exactly.
I'm not going to force my will, which we're going to talk about shortly, upon other people. And unfortunately, again, don't come for me, but oftentimes, yeah, I'm going to say it, April. Oftentimes you Americans are buck wild when you're traveling and you want everyone to bend to your will and your way. And I have to say that you're not in America, so calm the F down.
Yeah, this one's on us.
There you go. Woo! Woo! So yeah, that part, April. Anyways, they finally get into the neighborhood and there's more I love you. And she even acknowledges that they say I love you 100 times a day. And guess what? 5 seconds into it, she's already complaining because the shoes that she chose that she couldn't find were uncomfortable. You've been out for 5. You haven't even walked half a block. Girl,
you saw what the road looked like when you came in.
That part.
You knew what you were going to have to walk on.
Rebecca says we don't claim her.
She can't sit with us.
And here's the thing. You're not brand new, Nicole. You've been there before. You self-proclaimed said you lived there.
Yeah.
Mind you, like, when people say, oh, I lived there and you only were there for 2 months, like, that's not really living, in my opinion. That's an extended visit, but that's another story. So, they walk by a chandelier store and she loves it. She wants to go in. Don't know why you need a chandelier store because you don't even have an apartment, Nicole. So, I don't understand, but okay, she wants to go in, but she only wants to go in because Mahmoud said he's not sure if she can go in because it might be like for men only.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says, well, let's try anyways. Are you trying to get your husband killed?
Ostracized?
Like what?
Yeah. What's the end goal here? You want your husband to be ridiculed?
I just don't get it. And it's not like you're going to buy anything in there because we're going to take the chandelier, pack it up because you just talked about leaving. Every 5 seconds when you start crying, you're upset. You're like, well, maybe I'm going to leave. You should have been gone. Go home, my love.
The title of this episode, Go Home, My Love.
It should have been.
But yeah, that I really didn't like when she insisted upon, well, let's just see.
Yeah.
It was pretty clear to me that he was uncomfortable.
Right. And it was clear to me that she had no respect for his culture and their traditions. So instead of going to the chandelier store, they decided they're going to sit at a cafe, and he doesn't want to say no to her, he says, because she gets mad easily and they start fighting. It's only been 24 hours. He's kind of sick of fighting with her. So they sit down. Server comes over. He asks the server if it's okay, that he sits with the wife. The server says no problem. And Nicole wants to go ahead and continue to push the boundary. She's like, well, you know what? I want to meet your friends. And he's like, yeah, there's no way. That's just not what we do here. Like, the men go out together and the women sometimes go out together, but it's really like just separated apart. Marriage life is private. It's away from people. We don't like commingle. My friend is not going to call me up and say, hey, you and your wife come out. Like, it's just not appropriate in his culture, he says.
Right.
But she doesn't want to take no for an answer. And so he finally says, okay, honey, let's meet my friends. It won't be comfortable for anyone, but we'll do it. But don't ever ask me this again.
Right.
So what happens? They meet with the friends the next, I guess that night or the next day. It wasn't very clear to me. He's super nervous because this is something that he has never done before. She's not nervous for the first time ever. And he's like, if they don't talk to you, don't take offense to it. It's out of respect for me because that's just not what we do. A single man or a married man is not going to talk to another married man's wife out of respect in our culture. So they get there. Apparently they're an hour late, and I'm sure that was Nicole's doing because she takes forever. 4 of his friends are waiting for him. They all sit down, and it's a super awkward silence. Did you notice it, April?
Very much. Very much.
Awkward. It was awkward for me to sit there. I'm like, why am I just sitting here looking at you guys looking at each other?
Why would she demand this when she doesn't even speak the language?
That part.
Also, isn't she concerned that she's going to be offending the wives?
But she's not concerned because she's not even looking up or researching or trying to understand the culture. Think about it, April. What part of her has embraced any part of his culture? Can you name one thing?
Well, when she initially said she was going to cover up, but then she took that back.
Yeah, and hasn't.
But if you guys find yourselves in Egypt, I feel like she could have very easily said, can I just meet the wives? Wouldn't that have been better? Because she says she wants friends, right? So meet the wives. Like, his friends are not going to be your friends.
But I don't think that's what I think she's doing it to make a point and push the boundaries. I think she's doing it so that she's showing him, like, she's forcing her will and her way on him by any means necessary. That's what I think. I'm going to answer this question for Amanda. Does it seem like Mahmoud is especially conservative? Yes, it does seem like he is. He's in a specific part of Egypt, though, he said in this episode, where they are more conservative. Amanda goes on to say, I can't imagine Cairo is still that conservative, which is what he said. He said in Cairo, it's different. In Cairo, they'll all they grew up like that. They'll all go out with each other and hang out. But where the city that they're in, They don't do that there. They're
Right.
way more conservative.
And I don't think he's exaggerating that about that community because of the way that the husbands all acted at dinner.
That part. Yep.
Yeah, I think that that's true. That's the way it is where he lives.
Yep.
I don't know the name of the city where he lives, but
no, I don't either. But it's much more conservative than the bigger city of Cairo is. And Cairo is less conservative according to even what he's saying, right? So I don't know, maybe they need to move to Cairo for Nicole to kind of get her act together a little bit. I don't know. So the friends even talk about this is the first time that they've been invited out with their friend and a wife. Like that just never happens. So they're nervous because they don't know how to interact. They don't know what to do. But they do say she seems kind. And then awkward silence again. And then Nicole asks, how long have you guys known each other? And just like anyone else that has grown up with each other, they grew up in the same city. They all grew up together. They're like brothers. Boom. That's the answer to your question. And then she wanted to know, do you guys think it's weird that your friend married an American? And apparently one of his friends also wants to marry an American. What were your thoughts on that, April? From an immigration perspective.
From an immigration perspective, I would be very careful of saying that kind of thing because it can be used against you in the future. And you can have double reasons for wanting to marry a specific person, including like whatever benefits their nationality would bring to you. But I would not advertise it.
Yeah.
But for him, maybe it's a great idea because now there'll be people who are on the show that are looking up Mahmoud's friends and find him and chat him up.
That's why he said it. He's like, if this is an international show and y'all ain't paying me, then yeah, let me shoot my shot. Someone out there is going to think I'm attractive.
Yeah. But I would absolutely wonder why. Because even like getting through the process, you have to commit to being with that person for a certain amount of time. Like, is it really going to be worth it to be with somebody who's completely opposite of you in culture and tradition for even that period of time?
But April, because I know you told us about high risk areas. Is Egypt on that list at all?
No.
Really? Because I read an article that there are a lot of Egyptian men who, just like the Dominican Republic has that stereotype, look for foreigners to marry so that they can come to America. So is that not true?
Not statistically. The ones that I'm looking at, you see more Egyptian men and more men from like Syria, Turkey, Tunisia. You see them marry more women who have the same religion than them.
Okay.
So they might be American, but they'll still be Muslim.
Got it.
So they don't get as high of a fraud rating.
Got it.
A lot of the women who come to the United States who are, first gen immigrants, they come like on a student visa or H-1B or whatever. They tend to still marry men from their home country.
Got it. So the food comes because it's super awkward. They all eat fast. Dinner's over in like a shake and a shake and a shake. And there's more awkward silence. Nicole has this crazy, wild look on her face that her husband has already become familiar with. And he's looking at her like, are you good? Because you look like they're about to like explode. But no, she's not good. As per usual, she feels uncomfortable and she wants to leave, even though this was her idea that she forced on all of us. So, Nicole, we're feeling all awkward because of you. And you wouldn't listen to your husband, even though she later says, oh, I should have listened to my husband. Over it. I'm
Very
over
much.
it.
Very much.
Over her 100%. And all I'm going to continue to say from this point forward for Nicole is, go home, my love.
Go home, my love. Right across the screen.
That's it. Yep.
Get a t-shirt that says go home, my love.
Go home, my love. All right, let's move on to Debbie. I just love her. I love everything about her. I love her. I think that she is eccentric. I think she is a strong older woman that stands up for herself. I think that she knows that her son is a twat and mean. And I'm glad that she decides to do her own thing because he gives me, you guys, you know what kind of vibes he gives me? He gives me like, I will immediately, if not sooner, put my mother in a home, lock her away, and never go visit her and take all her money vibes.
I have a complaint about the son specifically that is apart from the fact that I think he is probably a Confederate flag flyer.
Oh, you brought it up, so I'm going to pop it on the screen. Tell me that does not say America. You know how Angela is like, but I'm American. America.
Yeah.
Americans who are like, are, you know.
I never feel that great about people who fly American flags outside there. And I say this as the daughter of a retired service person. We have a flag that was given to us at his funeral in the house, right? So I understand, like, it's not always, but when you choose to fly an American flag outside of your house in your regular neighborhood, to me, it's a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that because it's not a thing for me, at least. But as a Canadian, and when I look at this and you drop the A for America and you're saying America, and even the rest of the shirt, I should have wrote it down, but it was something like 2-time champions in the world wars. I was like, oh, see, everything about you is exactly who you presented.
Yes.
And I know some of y'all who are watching previous episodes came for me and you were in the comments saying I was this and that. No, I call a spade. And this fool right here is low key. He's first of all, he lives in the South. Second of all, it's only black and white with him. There's no gray. Third of all, look how he treats his own mama. And his own mama is the same skin tone as him. So you can imagine.
And he's a police officer.
So you can imagine anyone that doesn't look like him, doesn't act like him, doesn't think like him is going to be a problem for him. Okay. Yeah. He already degrades his mom because you can love your mom and be scared for her and talk to her still lovingly. You can talk to her and have a disagreement, but you don't have to necessarily put her down. And he puts her down on the regular. So you can imagine how he talks to people he doesn't know or respect. Stop it.
Exactly.
Stop it. Rebecca says, that shirt told me all I needed to know about him. And then Amanda said, then it said something like back-to-back World War champions, like how you. Yeah, it did say that. And just April, he specifically knew he was going to be on international TV and he wore that shirt anyways.
Yeah. Bad.
So, anyways, love Debbie. And went off on a tangent, but I told you guys I probably would today. Love Debbie, love her little moo-moos. I think they're called moo-moos, right? 100% love her little style. And she's packing. It's her moving day. She's off to Morocco.
Morocco.
I love it. And she's packing all the things. She's got clothes everywhere. She's trying to fit some stuff into a carry-on. And she's like, dang, man. Why don't they make these carry-ons bigger? And I don't know why I thought that was so funny, April, but
that was really funny.
Yeah,
that was pretty funny.
And then we meet Osama.
Oh, wait, before we go to Osama, can I just rant against the sun a little bit more?
Yeah, can I pop his face up again?
Yes,
go ahead.
Face up. So at the airport, he goes into this, I must be able to go to my mom's house and vent to her. I need her to be here whenever I want. And I have a problem with him never considering that his mom is a whole person apart from being a mother to him who gets to live her own life. I just really like that whole thing. If you said why you want your mom to stay in the US, I could give you 5 reasons that have to do with her as a whole, complete human being. But he can't give one.
Here's the thing. You said it last week, April, when you said, listen, if he really was concerned about her, guess what? He'd get on a plane and go with her. Yeah. Check out where she's moving to, meet Osama, figure the whole thing out and call it a day. But instead, you want to degrade your mom. You want to make it about yourself. You want to say, I can't do this and I can't do that and I can't come over when I want. She's being stolen from us when he said that this man was stealing his mom was the same January 6th energy I was getting. They're stealing America!
As if she's property. Okay, so I'm 42 and I have a 19-year-old. So I feel like I'm in the generation of women who are first beginning to accept that we get to be whole people apart from being moms, so that we don't fall apart when our kids actually leave home. And so this is really important to me. Like, she gets to be a whole person. Why is he trying to take that away from her?
That's it. That's it.
So yeah, that's especially good. I don't like him.
I mean, he's not showing any redeemable. Well, I did write down something that I was like, okay, maybe he has one redeemable quality, but he's making it hard for him to be likable, in my opinion. And if you guys have a different opinion, definitely pop it in the live chat. Or if you're watching the replay, let us know in the replay. But right now, my gut is saying that no. And can you imagine he throws a uniform on and is policing people in Georgia? Oh, hell
That's
no.
attitude. Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Sally, hey, girl, hey. Okay, so we meet Osama, and I just want to say, for the record, that I told you I was having a hard time. It took me probably 30 minutes to watch his 10 minutes. I feel itchy already. First of all, so logical Linda understands that universal healthcare and dental is not available for everyone all across the world. I 100% get it. And I understand that it's not cheap and it's not readily available, like I said, for everyone to just go to the dentist or go to the doctor. I totally understand that. That being said, I have some weird quirks about me, and that's just who I am. And one of them is teeth, and his little snaggle tooth and whatever else was happening there was totally distracting me. And I'm sure he's a lovely human being, but that tooth looked like it was about to attack me. And so I was like watching like this, trying to take notes like this, April, because I was like, oh, I can't. It was like, oh. And then to find out he loves cats, and y'all know how I feel about cats, the little feral little rats with tails. Ew. And I get some of you have cats and you love your cats and all of that. I've already told you I'm not that person. I'm not that person. I don't like them. I like any other type of animal. I don't like domesticated cats. They gross me out. And he's got like 100 of them. They're everywhere. He was holding one up like it was a baby, and his snaggletooth was in that cat's face. So you can only imagine what I was thinking and why it was taking me so much time to watch his little segment. That being said, oh my God, his teeth. Okay, so Osama, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Osama is a self-proclaimed loner who loves cats. And he lives on a small farm with 3 cats. No, see, I'm still stuck on the cat. 3 cows, 13 chickens, some hens, and a donkey. One of the cows is a rescue cow. I don't know how that works, but it's a rescue cow. And he works on the farm with his dad and the animals. He has no job, and he doesn't work because hard work, quote, can kill the creations. He's a writer, a painter, and a poet that can't have a job because if he dared to work, it would stifle his creativity.
I did not understand why they're characterizing this as him not having a job. Does he not help with the animals?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would
have said that was a job.
Works on the farm, right? That's his job.
Like, I was a little bit confused about why they're saying that he didn't have a job. Like, that is a job. It's like when people who are housewives say, no, I don't work. Ma'am, you do work.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Because he literally says he works on the farm with the animals and his dad. But maybe he was saying that he doesn't, I don't know. But
have an outside job.
Maybe. Outside job, because the outside job would kill his creative vibe.
His creative vibe. I'm gonna tell my mom that. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna move back home and just unlatch myself because this work is just killing my creative vibes. I don't want to do it anymore.
Oh Lord. And then you guys. Okay, so I don't know about y'all. And again, I'm sure he's lovely. Some of my Patreon subscribers, they really find him like a lovely individual. I might have just a cold black heart, but I'm going to tell and watch way too much True Crimes, but he's screaming red flags. And April, I'm going to tell you why he's screaming red flags. Number one, he's self-proclaimed loner. Okay, loner. Doesn't like people, doesn't like to be around people, loves to be around cats, and cats specifically because cats are, quote, his words, silent. And I don't know if you watch any true crime, but all the serial killers, they always start with killing cats. Number two, I still think it's a red flag that he doesn't want to work outside of the farm. And as far as him working on the farm, we don't know how much work he actually indeed does and how helpful he is. Because like when you work on a farm, you wake up early, you go to bed late, all this stuff. You have 3 cows and 13 chickens. How hard can it be? That being said, the fact that all of his art is about, quote, sadness, melancholy, misery, and hurt humans. And the fact that's I think 3 or 4 red flag for me. Number 5, he's talking about the madness inside him. I was just like, there are too many red flags right now. You don't know how to me, you don't know how to socialize. You're living way I'm going to swear, sorry, y'all. You're living way the fuck on some Timbuktu farm. You met some woman on Facebook. She's leaving her life to come marry you, so she thinks, but you're not ready to marry her. And then you're going to take her out in the woods, and we're never going to see Debbie again. Okay, go ahead.
I am going to take the other side just for funsies because I think you're right. But he's Berber, which I'm glad they're introducing us to. So
what is Berber exactly?
Native Moroccans.
Okay.
Before they were colonized by the French.
So, I did not know that.
It's possible that he has been ostracized for being Berber, which would lead to him being a loner, which would lead to him reflecting on these themes that are more melancholy than if he was not.
Okay, but
I'm done.
But yeah. Now that we cracked open the door, the journalist in me is going to have to go ahead and ask you some questions, April. So let's say that is indeed true. Let's say he's been ostracized and shunned his whole life. At what point does he then also take ownership of his own life and try to overcome the things that have suppressed him? Because I've experienced racism in my life. I've experienced a lot of no's in my life. And so should I then not ever try again?
Some people did make that choice. There are people who ventured out into the world, experienced something negative, and then retreated back into themselves and decided not to come out. Some of them are okay and just live their lives being alone. Some of them end up on hoarders.
Listen, I have a neighbor that's a hoarder, you guys, and every day I see he has 3 vehicles, 3 huge vehicles. One is a van, one is a truck, and one is a car. And when I say it's full of stuff, it's full of stuff. And I want to take a picture because he has 3 vehicles full of
all that crap. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I cannot. Anyways, that being said, he feels like age is just a number and you fall in love with your soul and your soul never grows. And so it's really about soul ties and not body ties. And he has decided that his soul wants to be with Debbie. However, even though, they've met one time because she went out there, they often fight on social media. They break up, get back together, break up, get back together. That tends to be their cycle. he's decided that even though she's coming and she's thinking that they're getting married, that he needs more time to get to know her, which I thought was actually sane of him to say.
Yeah.
Because you don't know her and you're 24.
That's
So
reasonable.
reasonable, right? So he's not ready to get married to her yet, but she doesn't know that, which again is going to be where we have a point of contention, right? Because she's obviously going to be ready. She obviously thinks they're getting married, and she's packed up to come to Morocco to marry him, and things are going to be a little bit different once she gets there. And by the way, is she staying at the farm with him?
I don't think she said where she's staying yet.
I'm just curious. Like, where is she going to stay? Because he lives at home. So is this grown-ass woman moving in to his parents' home with the 24-year-old?
Oh my God, that would be so weird.
Okay.
That's so weird.
It's super weird. So we're back in Georgia. Julian is at his mom's house. He's gonna drive her to the airport. He's already complaining. This dude is already complaining, telling his mom that she doesn't need 5 or 6 bags to go to Morocco. Her plan is to take those 5 or 6 bags. Once she gets settled, she's gonna have her hater ass son and her hater ass daughter send the rest of the stuff, which they're not about to do. She's keeping her townhouse, quote, for her kids, which I think is a good idea. Anyways, even if it wasn't for the kids, rent that shit out.
Yeah.
Make some Airbnb money and, have extra money while you're out there. That's a great idea. Julian goes on to say that he thinks his mom is stupid and this is stupid. He says that his mom is desperate for attention. It's the only reason why she's going halfway across the world, because she is desperate for attention. So again, you guys, when you guys come for me and I say he's a terrible individual, you can disagree with something that someone is doing, but you can just do it in a better way. And you don't have to be such a hater, and you don't have to be so negative and derogatory towards your own mother. I just don't have respect for it. I'm sorry. And if he can be so derogatory for his mother, think about what this man is doing in his job to strangers, April.
Yes. That's exactly what I think about listening to him talk to her in such an insulting way. Okay. Let me see if there's anything I can do about my sound.
Oh, go ahead, Monica. Woo! Monica threw April right out there.
Yeah. Well, you need people to tell you things like that. And look how she said it so nicely, unlike Julian.
That part, constructive feedback. Is that better? And maybe I turn my sound down a little bit. Okay, so while April's fixing that, they get in the car, okay? He's driving. Julian's driving his mom to the airport. He's still talking crazy to her. And if that is not enough, her daughter, Sandy, calls. And Sandy acts like she's never left the country. So she's like talking to her mom. She's like, are you never coming back? Is that it? Are we done? And we don't think you're making a good decision, and you are clearly not listening to our advice, and we're advising you otherwise. We're telling you don't go. We don't think this is a good idea. And Debbie says, you know what? I really wish you guys would have more faith in me. Isn't it sad that she has to literally continue to tell her children that she's a grown-ass woman and have a little faith? She raised both of you, and you two are fine and self-sufficient. So isn't that the same woman? I don't understand. You guys are now acting like she doesn't make good choices in her life. And yet here are the both of you. So they are berating her. They have doubts about this trip. And these doubts, she said, are seeping into the cracks of her soul. But she is calling herself determined Debbie. And she believes that she has to be courageous. She has to live her best life. She has to go for love. And she's going to go anyways. So even though her son, Julian, and daughter, Sandy, are being Debbie Downers towards her, she's like, you know what? I'm going to go. I'm going to find love because I deserve love. And, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but I'm not going to know if I don't try. So they get to the airport. And here's when I was saying to you earlier that this is the one little piece of redemption that I felt like perhaps Julian is showing that he's a little bit human and okay. He says, I'm just scared for you because you're like my bestie, right? So say that. Say, you know what, Mom? You're my best friend, and I don't know anything about where you're going. I haven't researched it. I haven't Googled it. I haven't taken the opportunity to like FaceTime Osama and see what he's about. I've just thrown all my presumptions and stereotypes into my mind, and that's why I'm scared for you. But if I took a moment to maybe do a little research and maybe took a moment to like even come with you, then I know all of the things that I'm thinking in my head cannot be as bad as what they are in real life. He could talk to her that way, but instead he says, it doesn't add up. I don't understand why this 24-year-old would want to ever be with you, and I'm scared for you. And what am I supposed to do? This person has stolen you from us. I'm not going to be able to come to your house when I need to come over. I'm not going to be able to sleep over when I want to sleep over. I'm not going to be, I. Okay, Julian. Okay. Even in all of that, you guys, Debbie says, you know what? I understand, but I am motivated by love and determination.
So she was kind back to him, even though he was being a turd.
She's kind to him the whole time, April. All the time she's kind to him. All the time. And I just don't know how this woman, you said something a couple of episodes ago, but I still am like, how did this woman create this guy? Like, how? And then you said something like maybe she was not always like that. I don't know. But whatever it is, when he said something's not adding up, yeah, something's not adding up with you. How did you come out of this woman?
Yeah.
How did she create you? That's not what's adding up.
He's half of whatever his father was, and apparently they were not good men either. Even he said that they weren't good men.
There you go. That part.
So,
we're moving on to Jamie and Chris. Okay. I just want.
Okay, so far we have narcolepsy.
Oh, you're reading my mind.
Back and neck problems. What else?
Opioid taker.
Yes. Never lived in a big city.
Never traveled.
Spanish. Has never traveled. This is her first time outside the United States, and she's from Alabama.
Yeah, all of those things. Nailed it. So, okay. So here's what these are my first notes. Okay, so remember when we first started, and I kept saying in the first few episodes, I really feel Jamie's going to be problematic. Oh, the mint allergy.
Oh, mint allergy, yeah.
I don't know who's more problematic because Chris is coming in hot, y'all. She's coming in hot. So, first of all, as you guys know, because, most of you guys are regulars here, I get distracted by weird stuff. And so when they were having coffee at the kitchen table and they had, I'm wondering, was it from her arrival? Was Valentine's Day close? I don't know, but now she's been there a couple of days. But those little paper hearts that were on the wall were distracting me because I was like, why are they there? I hope that's not part of their decorations. And like, who cut those hearts out? It looked like a 2-year-old. Half of them are all like squirgly and not asymmetrical. And so again, I had to pause so I could see what I was seeing. Did you notice the hearts on the wall, April?
Yes, there is some weird decoration going on in there, which I cannot abide.
I just think like, hey, you spent X amount of dollars on I said it last time, on balloons and paper mache crap. You could probably use that money a little bit wiser. I'm just saying. And can you take those stupid hearts down? It just looks stupid. All right. Then the second thing that irritated me was, Jamie, we've seen you talk perfect English. Okay. Yeah, accented and all, but like, we've seen you up in the live chat, perfect English, and all of a sudden, episode 5, you can't understand what Chris is saying. So you guys need the infamous translation device. For what?
I will say there is quite a difference between talking to somebody like over chat in a different language versus listening to them talk. Also, when you're on the phone with somebody, you generally are like, you're here. But when you're in person with somebody, you can be looking here, or, all kinds of things where they can't hear you correctly. Also, you guys, Chris has a very strong accent. Does it, like, only to me can you hear it? I'm Southern, so I can hear her accent, but
I can hear her accent, but
yeah.
I just feel like out of all the couples, I don't feel like these two needed the translation device first.
Maybe she's also stalling a little bit.
Yeah, because she's like, this woman's crazy. Let me make sure she understands every single word that I'm saying, so there's no mistakes. So that when they come find my body, because she's got a machete and had a night terror, that they will know exactly what happened.
Some of my English speaking clients, I still want to use an interpreter when we go to court, because I'm like, I just want you to have a little bit of extra time to think about the question before you answer it. And this is how you can get in a pause. So maybe she's doing that. She's like, this woman is coming up with all kinds of weird things that we never talked about before. Let me use a translator to make sure that I'm understanding that she wants a knife.
Yeah, that part. You're right. I'll give you that. So Chris wants to explore the city, and she wants to go buy a weapon. She's had weapons all her life, which was really, like, again, super American to me, but whatever. She wants to do that. Now, someone messaged me, and I don't know if this to be true because I haven't actually been to Colombia, but the person said that despite like all the rumors and what you hear, that getting weapons is not very easy in Colombia, and that the producers would have had to research specifically in the city that they're in to find a weapon store to film in, because it's not common practice. Do you know anything about that, April?
I don't know anything about that. And where they are, I was very concerned about her saying that it's not a very safe place, because Medellin is very safe.
Yeah, but what does she know? She never even left the country. It's the first time on a plane. She don't know shit.
Yeah, I mean, compared to some of the places where she could go in Alabama, that's a very safe place. And she just said the other day that it was more safe for her to be there and be gay than it was for her to be at home. So what changed?
Listen, I'm going to say this. What you're not about to do is be from Alabama, talk crazy about Medellin when you live in a state that had sundown. Okay? All right. So she's like, I want a weapon. It's part of who I am. I've always had a weapon in my home. I grew up with weapons. Apparently, she got a weapon, her first knife, at 8. And so she wants to go. That being said, she also says that she thinks Colombia is all about drug lords and kidnappings. And she feels like Americans are in danger when they go there. And I will say, you are from America, where there is a shooting every single other day. And there's a shooting every single other day. And I'm not going political, you guys, so don't get all crazy. I'm just saying, if you look internationally, you look worldwide, America has a disproportionately amount of shootings and killings compared to the rest of the world.
Yeah, I agree.
So Amanda says they're in Bogota, right? But still not as scary as Alabama, LOL. And Rebecca says that part. Oh,
maybe
Diana
Dave was in Medellin.
Diana says, yeah, that was me. Well, hi, Diana. I knew I heard it from someone. I didn't know who it was. She said that was me. It was a military shop. Civilians can buy caps and boots, but definitely not weapons. So there you go. She's answering the question where I was telling you that someone said on my platform that that's not a common practice.
Right.
Thank you, Diana. So they go to this weapon store, all filled with stereotypes on Chris's part, and she picks out the biggest, baddest weapon, and she literally got excited about it, you guys. And she took like this weird, crazy stance. And she took the knife, you guys, and did this. Oh. What's that movie? Like the infamous movie where the woman stabs the. Is it no? Oh, what's that movie? It's like the mom and the son, and the mom is like crazy.
Oh, I know about the hotel.
Anyways, she was like, she was doing this, you guys, like she had done it before. Okay, so she picks up this huge knife. Jamie's like looking at her now. Bates Motel. Thank you. I
said hotel. Bates
That's
Motel.
So picks up the biggest, baddest knife, does these crazy stances, does the stabbing moves, all the things. And then my question to you all, and you can answer because it was a true question. I'm genuinely asking this, but is it a good idea for someone that has night terrors, is narcoleptic, has an opioid situation, and has all like back and neck issues, is it a good idea for her to bring a big ass weapon into an apartment, into a city and country that she's not familiar with?
Living with a person who she just met for the first time? Absolutely not. I would not be comfortable I would not be comfortable living with her at all now because of all the things that we know about her, but I most certainly would not be comfortable with her with a knife.
And Jamie, I think, said the same thing, because Jamie said, we can take this knife, we can have it in the house, but you can't have it in the bedroom. Which makes me think that she's thinking, here's this narcoleptic night terror. Can you imagine? She's having a night terror and she's like half awake, half not awake. She has this knife and she sees Jamie, and all of a sudden Jamie's not Jamie. Jamie's someone in her night terror. Boom.
But how is she going to even regulate her having it in the bedroom? I wouldn't even want her to have it in the house at all. Like, now I got to sleep with one eye open.
That's why you don't move in with someone that you don't know and marry them in 9 days. So I laughed because they showed how excited Chris was, her knife collection back. Like, April, look at this one knife. It literally looks like a butcher knife that came out of her kitchen.
It is literally a butcher knife. I have no idea why it's there with all these pocket knives. It's not even like a cute handle decoration. Why is it there?
And then, is that an ice pick?
Yes, there is an ice pick or two.
So, like, I mean, these are like for killing people.
Mm-hmm.
And look how excited she was. And you guys, again, for all of you internet theorists out there, because again, like I've said before, the internet is saying that she has a drug problem, and I can't confirm or deny, but I'm just telling you what the internet streets are saying. And it's interesting that the internet streets are also saying, April, that we only ever see her with long sleeves, and that one arm where there could be tracks, she's always covering with scrunchies.
Yeah. It could be track marks. It could be a prior saucy attempt. But she definitely seems to keep it covered.
Yeah, 100%. So that being said, she's excited to have her knives, and she literally did a happy dance when she was buying it, which I thought was really weird.
That would have weirded me out if I was Jamie.
Yeah, and that was my note. Jamie looked scared. She looks scared because she's like, who is this person that I'm about to marry? It's clear I don't know anything about you. What up, Bobby?
Hi,
Bobby saying hello and happy evening. Let's move on to Jen and Rishi, the incredible Rishi. What were your overall thoughts first before we jump into them?
My overall thoughts are, what exactly does Rishi think that he's about to pull off here? Because nobody thinks that this woman coming over his house is just a friend visiting. Nobody.
And she didn't make it like that at all with her questions. I thought it was hilarious, to be honest.
Before she even said anything, the sister, or I think it was the sister, was like, why is this woman here? In her face.
That's what you get for lying about. Who lied about COVID? What's this about? I don't know. I missed something. Did I miss something?
I'm not sure. That was probably about Jamie and
Chris. It is about Jamie and Chris, because when Jamie said that she had COVID and couldn't work, and then Chris was sending all the money to support her. Maybe that's what she's talking about. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So Jen's been there for 3 days. She's all pissed off because it's the first time she's hearing about Rishi's arranged marriage, right? And the possibility that he might marry someone when she's packed up and moved there, allegedly being his fiance. So she got all mad. She stormed away. It's the next day. She's doing her hair and got a call from Rishi. She's decided that she is going to still go see his parents or his family because he has sweet talked her into going. And he also bought an outfit for her. He comes over, shows her the outfit. She loves it. But he's still upset with her. She's still upset with him. He's worried that anytime they have any adversity or disagreement, she's going to walk away. And I was like, well, that's a big assumption. This is like the first fight that we're seeing. You guys haven't even seen each other for 2 years. And what you're saying is kind of ridiculous. Like, if I packed up and moved halfway across the world to be with you, and now I have to be a hidden secret, and then to find out that you might marry someone else, yeah, I'm probably going to walk away for a minute. I'm going to need a minute. Right?
Exactly. Her outfit was cute, though.
The outfit was cute. Good choice. So they make up, and she says she thinks she hears him say that in that makeup, that if push comes to shove, he'd choose her over his family. And that's absolutely not what he said.
That is not what he said.
That is not what he said. So when I was like, is that how you interpreted him saying, well, I'm going to work it out with my family? He wasn't saying to you that he's going to tell them, oh, hell to you and no to you and yes to you, Jen. That is not what he was saying. So, in order to perpetuate the lie, he has also invited his friend Sanjeet to come in, because having two people come over as friends is better than just having this Western blonde hair, blue-eyed woman come in from somewhere random that they already know because they met her before at the wedding. So all of a sudden, how are you here? And for formal introductions like that, they don't, it's not all willy-nilly. Like, you're doing it because that's your love interest. So like, let's be real.
Yeah.
So, but Rishi thinks that his family is going to be less suspicious if it's two people coming over. So Sanjeet and Rishi and Jen are on their way to the house, and he's going to introduce Jen as a friend. Now, my question to you all in the live chat and to you, April, is if you were someone's fiance and they had not told their parents or their family, let's say, would you go along with being introduced as a friend?
No, because you can't say trust and honesty are so important to me and then go along with somebody's lie.
That part.
Like, the actions are completely different from the words that are coming out of your mouth.
Say that again for the people in the back.
The actions No, let me stop. The actions are completely different from the words that are coming out. And this is something that I've been working on in my own like attempts to re-enter the dating world. Pay attention and only respond to somebody's actions and not their words.
That part. I listen, you guys. I hope I'm not single forever because I refuse to be on dating apps. I can't do it. I've had a terrible experience with it, and I just can't do it. So I don't know if my man is gonna fall out of the sky, or I just don't even know where he's. I don't know where he's gonna show up. So just you all pray for me. Maybe I need an arranged marriage.
You know, at this point, I actually said a couple of years ago, I would sign up for arranged marriage if it was a culture, a thing that existed in my life. I would sign up for it. Huh?
Like a service?
Or even just having like my parents or my friends to pick someone, I would be okay with that because I think they know me well enough now that they could pick someone good. Like at 21, how can you pick someone for me at 21? I was not even a sentient person at 21. But now I think they could.
It's a good reality show idea. Right? Like your friends and your family, your closest 5 people. And TLC, I will play this back if you guys go ahead and try to steal April and I's idea. Okay.
When you get the casting announcement for it, you're like, April, do this. I know it would be perfect for you. I think they actually would do a good job because they kind of, at this point, when I show them someone I'm interested in, and I tell them a little bit about them, they'll kind of be like, what? Or either, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I think that I would watch a show like that where like your 5 closest friends and family literally find you your man and set you up, and it's an arranged marriage. Like you have no say in it except for like, okay, yes.
Like an arranged married at first sight.
Yes. Gotcha. All right. So that being said, they get there. He has introduced her as a friend and starts lying right off the bat. So he tells the parents that she's visiting, and she says in that same conversation 2 seconds later that no, she moved there. And the parents are like, what? Sister's like, why is she even here?
Right off the bat.
Right off the bat. I was like, they already know. They're already suspicious because this is not brand new. Because April, they met her before at a wedding. And you came all the way back over here, and you're now just like, you just happen
living there.
Yeah, you just happen to be in India, and then now he's saying you're visiting, but you said you moved here because you love Jaipur.
And they know that Jaipur is not a place people just move to.
That's it. So, now she's still upset because she didn't know that his family was already looking for a wife for him, right? Because he didn't tell her. So she's mad he lied. And so she has in the back of her mind that she's going to come down to the bottom of this, but no one knows she's going to do this, but Jen. So she starts asking all these questions. She's like, so the first question, she's like, so, besides Jaipur being a beautiful city, and the mom is like, oh, this is super suspicious. Like, you're a long way from home, white lady. And then the mom says this, they're not my words. The mom says, I'm not sure what she likes about us Indians. Like, why are you here? That's what the mom says.
Basically, the mom said, go home, my love.
Go home, my love. So Jen asked about the wives for the sons. So she's like, are you looking for wives for both of your sons? Rohit and Rishi. And the mom's like, yeah, as soon as possible. And then Jen is not done because she's getting to the bottom of this. Have you found any potential wives for Rishi yet? Now, any woman knows what this woman is asking.
Exactly. And specifically for Rishi, she didn't even try to keep it generic.
She sure didn't. The mom knows something's up, right? Because your little friend is not going to ask the mom, well, have you found him a wife yet? Like, why would you care?
Yeah.
she tries to play it off like, well, maybe I'll come back because I live here now. I can go to 2 weddings. I was like, you are not fooling anyone.
No.
And then, so the mom says, yes, there have been many proposals. A lot of proposals have been coming, but we haven't found a match yet. And then the Uncle Gajandra says, yeah, they've been too short, April, too uneducated, and so they're not a match. And Rishi's sitting there, yeah, because I'm educated and I'm hot and I'm popular. And Jen's like, wait, height is a requirement? Height is a requirement? I've actually not heard that. Usually like women are like, oh, he's got to be 6 foot. By the way, I read an article last week. The average man in the world is 5'7".
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking that, so I've seen some tall guys say, and I don't know how tall Rishi is, but I've seen some tall guys say that they want to have tall kids, so they don't want to be with short women.
A lot of women aren't that tall.
Particularly if they're like into sports. Yeah. And they want for them to have kids who are into sports. The specific example that one guy gave me was like Scottie Pippen. He was like, his kids are good at sports, but they're all short because he married that short lady.
Oh my God, that's funny. So Jen goes on, her what should I call it? Her future husband exploration. So she goes on to ask the family, is it okay to marry a woman from a different religion? Okay, so if I'm sitting there as the mom, April, and have not put 2 and 2 together yet, I just don't know what it is. She's basically saying, that's my man. Y'all don't know. So here I am. Is it okay that I'm not the same religion as you? And the mom says, it's no problem if the person is good natured. And then let's not forget that Rishi lied. Okay, so he lied into our faces as viewers. So at first, when the friend came over at the apartment, the friend said that it was like a couple of months that they've been looking, right? But then he told Jen that it's only been like a month and a half.
Uh-huh.
Right? So he translated it wrong and said it wrong.
Right.
I was like, okay, I'll let it slide. That's like 30 days or whatever. No big deal. Or 2 weeks, no big deal. But then when Jen's like, so how long have you been looking for a wife for Rishi? And the mom says that she's been searching because the time frame is important here.
Yes.
For 2 to 2.5 years.
Yeah.
But they have to finalize something this year, the mom says.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Rishi lies.
Big lie.
Even though he says in English that he's just going to tell the truth because the truth is important. But what does he say in translation? He says, oh, they've been looking for about 1.5 years, which is not what the mom said. Because if Jen actually heard the truth, where it was 2 and 2.5 years, guess what? Like she said, you gained a fiance in those 2 years. So the 2 years you guys were apart has been the whole time that they've been looking for a wife for him.
Entire time, during which time he probably was meeting some people face to face.
He absolutely was. And then it goes back to the other episode where she asked him, have you been sleeping with anyone else? And he's like, he didn't say no. I just remember he didn't answer it directly.
He didn't. He said like he was offended that she would ask, but he never answered.
He never answered her. And so I feel like if there's going to be a point of contention, it's going to be right there. Like, we're going to find out, just like we found out with the OG Jen and Submit, that not only was there someone else, but he married her.
Yeah.
And lived with her while he was still dating Jenny from abroad.
As a TV person, as a producer, do you correct that translation?
As a TV producer, you do not, because you can't be part of the storyline. Right? You're neutral and you're not part of the storyline. I was just like, you know what? This guy, he lies all the time, but he's not even a good liar. He's not even a good liar. He should just cut it out. Cut the Band-Aid and tell them the truth. I'm sick of it. Sick of it.
Yeah.
All right. Next couple. Your favorite. And I still, have a soft spot for Danielle. I do think she's taking things over the top this season. So I'm curious to know what you think. So Danielle and Johan, and first of all, they're walking across the town. How do you guys feel about your man having to carry your purse? Because she has him carrying her purse because she doesn't feel like it. And he's like, yeah, I'm not going to be doing this all the time.
I've never done that. Have you actually ever done that? I've asked somebody to like hold it for a second while I could do something with my hands. I've never asked somebody to carry my purse for me.
Yeah, no. I've asked them, like, if I have to go to the restroom, can you wash my purse or whatever, but not walking around town. Like, can you carry my purse? Because I just don't feel like it right now.
Yeah, because she just didn't. She was just walking with her hands completely unoccupied and
Not
just
doing
like,
anything.
hold that for me.
Yeah, basically. But if you think about it, you think about what she said in the past, especially last episode, where she's like, you're my wife. I think that she has like this thing where she is paying for everything. So she feels like she's the boss.
That's really sad if that is what is happening.
I mean, because why else would she be doing it? Because she's
I want to think higher of her.
Okay.
But we got to look at her actions. And the actions are not good.
Her actions, I don't know what happened to her. I said it before. I don't know if she bumped and fell on her head, because this is not the same Danielle from the two previous seasons.
No, it's not.
I don't know who this Danielle is. Okay, so they haven't found an apartment yet. She's going to be leaving back to New York shortly. And so they're trying to scramble and figure that out. But in the meantime, they're meeting her friend Sophie, who just happens to be in town from New York City. They greet, they say hi, they sit down, they order drinks. And Johan is engaging with her right away. I almost got the vibe that he was like asking the question to find out, like, what's her status? Like, are you single? Like, that's the vibe he was giving. This is the most talkative April that I've ever seen him.
Yeah, so I didn't think about that. That's really possible. I thought he was excited because he didn't have to struggle to communicate.
I mean, it could be that, but the question, let's look at what he was asking her. So, she asks, so she engages him first. How long have you, well, no, he engages her first, says, how long have you known Danielle? And she's like, well, I've known her for the past 5 years. She used to be my yoga teacher. And then they do the flashback where Sophie was skeptical of Johan because she said that he possibly is one of those sanky panky guys who was just out to harvest the American dollar. So she was worried that Johan was one of those people. And so she then asks, are you ready to have Danielle here full time? Are you ready for her to move down here and be in your life day in and day out? And he gives kind of like a weird answer. He's like, well, we got married so that we could live together. Did you think that answer was weird?
I did not think it was weird. I thought it was like a typical way that somebody would answer a question to me when I ask it, because the way that some people culturally answer questions is what they think that you're asking, as opposed to what you literally said.
Okay.
So I did not find it odd when he did that. People do it to me all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was weird, y'all.
Yeah.
Are you ready to have this woman here full time? Well, I guess. I mean, we got married to live together, so I guess. Then April, asks Sophie if she has any kids, which, again, to me, it's like, why are you asking her that? Yes, she has kids. She has a son and a daughter, 26 and 22, respectively. And then she looks at him and says, well, how old are you? You look young. And he's like, I'm 32. And then she asks him, well, don't your parents want you to have kids? And yes, they want to be grandparents. And so she's like, well, what will happen if you couldn't give them any children? Because, she says we're women of a certain age and it gets complicated. And then Danielle talks about how when she went to the fertility clinic, she had like a 5%er, 5% chance of getting married. Oh, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. 5% chance of getting pregnant.
Long week.
And it's just begun. But Johan thinks that he's like, God is on my side. I'm not worried about it. I think our chances are better. And listen, y'all, I had a conversation. I won't say who I had a conversation with, but the person literally texted me and asked me if I've seen Johan's eggplant. And I was like, no, like, why would I have seen it? No, I haven't seen it. Apparently, it's out there. And you know how Daniela said it's a baby leg? It's a baby leg. And so I think that Johan has the feeling that because his eggplant is so eggplant-ish, that he's not going to have a problem because it's full of eggplants.
He could be using that flawed science, or he could think because he has gotten people pregnant previously that obviously like it's not an issue for him. He can make it happen again. Or remember Florian did the same thing, like him and Stacy went to the specialist. I think that's the right twin. And the specialist was talking about all the problems that she could potentially have because of her age. And he was like, he said, I don't want to do any intervention. I don't want to do any IVF or anything. We're just going to pray.
Which, you know, I am a Christian and a believer. And so I understand what they're saying, but I also do believe in science, right? And I do believe in your bodies, and you have to listen to your body, and you go to a doctor, and God created doctors for a reason and all the things. However, I'm just saying, like, I think that Johan knows that he is blessed with the harvest. And I think that he uses that as his, like, yeah, I'm not going to have a problem.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have a problem. I'm not. Just not.
That is how he feels.
Yeah. So he just thinks, you know what? Just the more we do it, the easier it will be. But Danielle's worried about miscarriages, her age, and all of that stuff. And she says that she believes in science more than anything else.
And she's right to be worried.
Yeah, absolutely. And so then Sophie asks him, you know, do you have any other kids? And he's like, no. And then she asks him a specific question, which I encourage you all to ask, is, do you have any children that you don't know about? Like, you might think that you don't have any kids, but could there possibly be a kid out there that is claiming you? And to that, he says no as well. Because I always talk about all the questions that you need to ask someone before you get in a serious relationship. That should be one of the questions you ask. Like, do you have kids? Do you have kids that think that you're their parent? You know, that's something you should ask them.
Yes, absolutely.
And make sure you ask them. I'm adding a little something because, listen, y'all, it's wild out in those dating streets nowadays. Wild. Like, wild. So I'm sure you heard it before, but when someone is dating you and you ask them if they're single and they say yes, you also have to follow up with the question, well, does anyone else think that they're in a relationship with you that you're not claiming? Yeah, we're there now, y'all. We're there. Like, you have to be very deliberate and direct with your questions, because just like Johan's going to be like, well, I didn't lie because I didn't not tell you. I just didn't tell you.
Yeah.
So he talks about how he's gotten women pregnant before in the past. It just didn't happen. And then he goes, this is where he slips, right? So he says he's been with a lot of women, and there have been women in his past that gotten pregnant. Some of them couldn't have the baby for whatever reason, and some of them had abortions. This is the first time that Danielle is hearing this. And so now Danielle has twisted it, in my opinion, into he's lying to her and he's a liar. What were your thoughts, April?
I thought she was blowing this way out of proportion.
Way out of proportion.
Because I don't think that he is conceptualizing a difference between lost the baby and had an abortion. I think they're all just lost babies to him. That was my interpretation. And I feel like if she spoke more Spanish, then he would have explained it to her that way. But because he was trying to use as few words as possible, then he explained it to her the first, more simple way, that they lost the babies. I would be more concerned about the number of times that this has happened as a reflection of the number of times that you're having unprotected sex than the ultimate end.
That part. What April just said, times 2. Okay.
We agree.
Blowing it way out of, we agree with, you guys. Ding, ding. Y'all never agree with me. Y'all always agree with April. But today we're agreeing. We're blowing everyone's mind.
And I think the reason she was blowing it out of proportion is because she has a sensitivity towards whether or not she's going to be able to conceive.
I agree with that. I think that she has a sensitivity towards it, as well as she's bringing baggage and luggage from her previous relationships into her new marriage. Now, she went on to say how she has a problem with liars. So right away, off the bat, she's going to be sensitive towards anyone that she thinks is telling untruths and half-truths to her. And the reason why, her past exes have all lied to her, one having a full-on family that she didn't know about. So she is taking all of those insecurities and all of those wrongs and bringing it into this relationship. So all of a sudden, when whatever conversation they had about past and children and all the things, and he said, well, yes, there's a woman who couldn't have a baby, so there was no baby, meaning like, yeah, there was someone in my past, even though there were more than one person, but there's no baby. That was his ultimate thing. She's now turning that into, you're a liar.
Yeah.
You're a liar, and you didn't tell me the truth, and you didn't tell me, and I can't trust you. And if there's no trust, I can't be in this relation. I was like,
it's ridiculous.
What? How are we even here?
And if you pull up Diana's comment.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that. In Spanish, abortion and miscarriage are the same word. You need an extra word to make it clear. Oh.
So he was choosing the most simple form of communication to tell her what happened because she's not fluent in Spanish. I think he blew it out of proportion.
Abortion, aborto, miscarriage, aborto, espontáneo.
Espontáneo.
So there you go. So he's also looking at her like, if, like April said, she knew more Spanish, she would know, like Diana is saying, thank you again, Diana, for helping us with this, that it's the same word. You just have to add one word. So he still thinks that he hasn't done anything wrong because he hasn't lied.
Right. His only downfall here is that he wasn't able to explain it very well. When he was asked about it, I think he was, on the defensive, or else he would have been able to just say, oh, I would have told the same thing to you, but I was just trying to explain it the most simple way possible.
That, but I also think too, it had to have been lost in translations, because I'm thinking of how the producer was translating what Danielle was saying. I don't know where the opportunity would have come in for him to be like, oh, I'm just trying to use less words on top of being defensive, right?
Yeah,
he's
that's
like,
also true.
Because all he's hearing is being called a liar, and he's trying to figure out, well, where did I lie?
Yeah. Also, the producer did something that you should not do.
Pardon?
If you're going to translate for somebody in those kind of situations, you need to do a word-for-word translation. And the producer immediately went to, basically what she's saying is, you should never, ever, ever do that.
Yeah. Agreed. So that whole situation happens. I do also want to talk about the fact that he thinks she's a witch. So they go to Botanica, which Danielle says is basically a Spanish magic store. And he's making jokes, right? So he's like, we're going there so that she can do her witchcraft. And she is feeling like he's acting immature because there's all this stuff. So herbs, and he's translating, or he's saying the words out and the producer's translating. So the one thing is a cow killer, one potion is for love forever, another potion is a business warmer, another potion is fast, like all these just random oils and all this stuff. And he then asks the clerk if she believes in witchcraft, and she's like, no. And then he's like, well, why do you work?
We work here?
Then Danielle gets into this whole thing. She buys literally $235 worth of potions and lotions, and tells Johan that she wants him to clean the shop floor with one of the potions for more prosperity. And then she wants him to get a painting of a saint. And he's like, no, I'm not doing any of that. My religion doesn't allow it. He says people will come into the shop and think that, it's witchcraft. So no. And he gets upset. And I understand that, because I would say no to that. I'm like, what? I go ahead, April. I know we're already disagreeing here. I don't believe in the lotions and potions. I am Christian too. There's no, you in the Bible, you're not idolizing anything but the Lord, your God and Savior, all the things. So someone's coming at me crazy, and where did these potions even come from? Who made these oils and who anointed the oils? I have questions. And then you want me to slather it on my business floor and say all the things? No, thank you. No. Thank you. Go ahead.
If you want me to take you seriously as a practitioner of Yoruba traditions, you're not going to buy from a random store. You're also not going to ask somebody to put a white saint.
I'm just saying, no, thank you.
In their home or business.
Amanda
says, what is she doing right now?
Amanda says, I'm into woo-woo stuff, but that was real woo-woo.
I don't even think it was real, Amanda, because if you're typically go into that stuff, you have a practitioner that you know about, that you study under, where you buy your products from. You don't buy them from a random store.
And you're just making my point. Where are the oils and lotions coming from? Who's the person that blessed them? And how does that? No, thank you. That's just me. And so I understand where he's coming from, but I don't begrudge anyone else's beliefs. Whatever works for you, works for you. That's on you. So, which is what Johan said. Johan is like, I understand her culture. I understand it, and I respect it. I don't understand why she doesn't respect and understand my culture. He's like, I'm Christian. We worship God in heaven, not picture frames. And he goes on to say that he respects Danielle's beliefs and doesn't understand why she doesn't respect his. And I was like, well put. We don't have to agree, but we can agree to disagree. And I can respect you, and you should respect me.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Yeah.
So we already talked about her confronting him about the abortion. And again, thank you and shout out to Diana for explaining it to us so eloquently. It totally makes sense. And you taught me something new. I appreciate it. But yeah, I think a lot of it was lost in translation. And I think that she was just being 100% extra with it. Mm-hmm. So then she goes on to say that she doesn't think that she's going to be able to be in a relationship with him like this. So he's like, well, what do you want to do then? And what do you want to do? Because if I'm a liar now, what is it that you want to do with this relationship? Mm-hmm. And then did you hear what she said?
What did she say? Remind me.
She said, I want you to be a different person.
Oh, yes, that's right. That's right. That's right. That
was so this bitch did weird. Not just say that she wants this whole grown-ass 32-year-old man to be a whole different person. You should have not jumped into marriage so quickly. You should have probably asked some more questions if you feel like you don't know who this man is. But what you're not about to do is try to make a grown-ass man a completely different person.
No.
I want you to be a different person.
She said, you're not the person that I originally met. You did not know him when you guys originally met. Y'all are just now getting to know each other.
And now you want him to be a different person than who he is? That's on you, girl. That's on you.
He still didn't really do anything wrong.
He didn't. And then this is where it gets super crazed that I'm just like, oh, no. She says to him that he's toxic. And you know what he says?
I'm toxic. Soy tóxico.
I'm toxic. So let's end it then.
Johan's already been a little bit off put by her, the way that she came in hot.
I
And
can't
she's
believe
been
it.
hot with him every single scene that we've seen them. So like he's not feeling any kind of love.
Yes,
Yeah.
Jocelyn, I agree with you because the interview that we did was amazing, and she seems like an amazing individual, and I just adore her. Who showed this Danielle who showed up this season? I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Maybe it's just for the drama for TV. I don't know. Maybe the stress of trying to get pregnant for the past year. I don't know. But something's going on.
I'm like, maybe they told her, you want to come off Love is Paradise and to be on the main show, 90 Day Fiance, you got to turn it up a notch or something. I don't know.
That part too. And she also did say that as well, Brown Frown. She pointed to him. She did the zip it motion and literally said, I'm speaking, you shut the F up.
And Kayate is so rude. That's you can ask somebody to listen to you. Escúchame, por favor. Lo siento. Yo quiero completar mi frase. Oh, many, many, many things. But she decided to just go straight to shut up. That's so rude.
It's so rude. It is so rude and unnecessary. Unnecessarily speaking to people in derogatory terms. It's just, yeah, it's disrespectful, Stevie. You're right. Especially, and that's supposed to be your husband. Come on now. All right, we have one more couple to get through. Did we cover everything we wanted to cover with these two?
I think so. Danielle, if you're watching, we know you have better in you.
Danielle, listen, I fight for you in these internet streets, but you are making it very difficult. I keep referring everyone to the interview we did where you were just so lovely and we all fell in love with you. I don't know what is happening this season, but just like Jocelyn said, we're going to need you to come back on our show because I am going to have to explain to the masses why you're not the villain this season because they're making you out to be the villain. All right, last and certainly not least is Isabel and Gabriel. Listen, even their opening was so adorable. I think it's the best opening that I've seen so far. So usually with the opening, and what I mean by that, when you see the couples and they're standing together and you already know something's going to be up because here's what happens. If they're standing together all lovingly, it means there's no fight this episode. If they're standing back to back, it means they're fighting about something. But Isabel and Gabriel switched it up. They had a little jiggy dance, and I was like, oh my God, that's so adorable.
Adorable. Absolutely. Loved it.
So Gabe is stressed out because he's backed up on his website with a bunch of pre-orders, and it's been like a month, and he has no inventory. And not only does he have no inventory, he hasn't made the new inventory in order to fulfill those orders. And anyone knows when you pre-order something, you pay for it, right? Mm-hmm. And if you're waiting too long, it's a month later, you're going to want a refund if you're not going to get your product.
Right.
So he's panicked because these people are waiting. They've been waiting too long. So one of the things that I thought was interesting that I'm like, because I remember, April, you asked me, why did she move like an hour and a half away from her family home and all the things? And here we find out that she started working with Gabe after just a few months of knowing him. So she left her legal job because she was working at a law firm to go and work with someone that you've only known for a couple of months. I don't know if I believe her.
It's hard to believe because exactly what is she doing if he doesn't have any inventory there? If he arrived and she was like, here's the materials that I already purchased for us to get started, I would believe it more.
Yeah. I would believe it more if she was doing more.
Right.
Like while he was away, you're sourcing all of these fabrics and all the things that he needs, and you're sending pictures and you're buying the stuff so that when he comes, boom, he's out the gate running. Then like we're doing the business together. But You're just doing, I don't like, what are you doing? So I was a little bit, okay. So he's freaking out because if he has no clothes, then he has no money, he has no business, he has no job. And considering that she's working for him, there's no income. So he's literally supporting the entire family, including himself, through his little business. And he doesn't have a business to run because he doesn't have the product. And he's worried about, he doesn't know where to get the foam, doesn't have fabric. He's worried about how he's going to ship because he knew all those things in the US because he built his business in the US. So my first thing I want to say, and it's going to sound like a little bit poo-pooing, but I'm surprised by this. And like Jocelyn said, he came off as very unorganized. I'm surprised by this because as an entrepreneur, it's clear that you created a business and you came in very, very organized and you found a niche and we're providing for that niche. So I'm surprised that you're packing up to move to a whole different country and you didn't research and prepare for like whatever the first 6 months was going to look like. That doesn't make sense to me. So you packed up all your stuff in your apartment and all the things, and you didn't like pre-order fabrics and you didn't source out foam for the next like 6 months so that just in case you can't get that foam there, then you have 6 months worth of foam that will allow you to continue to have your business run smoothly. And then meanwhile, in that 6 months while you're getting orders, you can easily fly from friggin' Colombia to Miami or wherever, Florida, wherever you are. I know you're like Florida-ish somewhere, which is not going to be a hard flight or a long flight, and then get more product and just keep doing that. It would be cheaper than you talking about how you can't ship from America. It takes a month to get there and it's $300. Why didn't you plan for this?
Yeah, why doesn't he have a list of what he needed for his business and check and double check to make sure he had those things? His stamp, he doesn't have it. And then he also is not able to do conversions. Like, one of the first things that you need to do when you're deciding what country you're going to move to is be able to convert, because you're not going to be able to like buy groceries. You're not like, you can't function without knowing what a kilometer is, what a, just
The meter is
a meter. He's like, I don't even know how much I weigh here.
I thought that I felt like it wasn't in line with the character that he has presented thus far, because he's obviously made an effort to learn the language. He's been there multiple times where he set up an apartment. So you got an apartment, you have a lease, all the things, you know how that works. And so you're paying on an apartment, yet you don't know, like you said, how to do conversion. So how much do you think you're paying for that apartment? And how does that make sense long term? Like, how do you not know?
I that really caught me off guard. I was not expecting this from Gabe at all.
Me neither. And then when he said that he didn't have the stamps, I said, I'm done with you. The one thing that brands your company, that you have this opportunity on an international level to show your company and your brand, and you didn't bring the branding.
How's that
You didn't
possible?
bring the first thing that you need. That makes no sense to me.
When you're leaving your house or leaving your hotel or whatever, don't you always like just go around, look in the bathroom, make sure you didn't leave anything, open the drawers, right?
That, and your business, this is your
Yeah.
business. This is how you make money. This is how you put bread on the table. So, like, how is that not the first thing you go to? How is it that you're not like, okay, am I set up to run my business to be wherever I am, I can run my business? How is that not like, okay, this is my checklist. I'm going to need, like I said, fabric. I'm going to need foam. I'm going to be able to know how to ship internationally if my clients and customers are coming from around the world. How do I do that? What does that look like? You look into it. Listen, I used to have an e-commerce site. I do have an e-commerce site still. And so you have to look at all the things. What are the taxes? And, where can or can I not ship to? And then most importantly, your friggin' branding.
Yes.
Your friggin' branding, even the Oscars brand, it's on this side. Everyone's branding is the first thing. If this is not an Oscars hoodie, guess what? It's just a black hoodie.
Mm-hmm.
How, as a business owner, you don't know that? I was so shocked. I was shocked. I was like, is this the Gabe that we have grown to love? Amanda says, see, he's still messy, LOL. And Julian says Colombia is a massive clothing manufacturing country. Also, didn't he meet her on a business trip in Colombia? Sounds like a drama setup.
Yeah, he did. He said in the earlier episode that he met her when he was looking for new suppliers. He was in Colombia looking for new suppliers.
Why can't he find a manufacturer, just one or two people? How the hell is he going to ship from there? It's going to take forever to ship to the US. I think, like I said, that he needs, because you're going to be able to ship. Like, we're not, you know what I mean? You can be ship. It's going to cost a lot more, but he should have sourced that out, right? So if he's going to ship to the US, maybe it's something that he's like, international shipping costs X amount of dollars. It's probably going to dip into his profit a little bit, and it's going to take 6 to 8 weeks, so that people know that it takes a longer time than if it was just like in Colombia. But what he's going to have to do, thinking about his business, is that it's very niche, right? So he's going to have to be able to ship all around the world. Does it make more sense in the US because it's easier to ship from the United States? Yes, absolutely. But he chose to move there. Now, that's not to say that he can't run. Look at me with y'all steal my ideas. He can't run concurrent businesses, right? So he can set up his business in Colombia and source locally and get the discounts that way. And then target that, the Hispanic market. But he can also, in conjunction with that, still have his US business and go back to the US occasionally, or have his mom or his sister help run it, where anytime there are orders, that inventory is already in the US and it goes directly from the US to the US or wherever else where it's easier to ship. So it's the same business running concurrently at the same time, but from separate countries, so that you are still allowed to have your international market, because the market is such a niche market. He needs as many customers coming from all over the world.
Right.
That's it. That's all I got, y'all. That's all I got. And thank you again for coming to my TED Talk. If you'd like to come to my business planning seminars, please do hit us up in the comments below. I need to teach some classes, my friend. Any last things you want to talk about?
Prediction.
Okay.
I think it's time for me to say that Jen and Rishi are not going to make it.
Oh, you're going there.
I'm going.
I'm not there yet.
I'm ready to say it.
I'm not there yet.
You're not there yet?
I'm going to tell you something.
She's going to stick it out?
Well, I'm going to tell you something that I usually just say for news and gossip, but word on the street is, if I had to go with my gut right now because of what I know, I would say that they make it. And the reason why I say they make it is, word on the street is that they had a second engagement party that all the family attended.
Ah, interesting.
Jazza says I'm not there yet either. Because Jocelyn, you're part of the Patreon family. That's why. Okay, so if I had to predict Muhammad and Nicole, I'm going to say they're not going to make it.
Okay.
If I have to predict Debbie and Osama, I'm going to say they're not going to make it.
Okay.
If I had to predict Jamie and Chris, I'm going to say they're not going to make it. And we even saw some preview where Chris is saying she has to go back to the US already. What's that about? Jen and Rishi, I'm going to say they make it. And Danielle and Johan, I'm going to say they make it. And Isabel and Gabriel, I'm going to say they make it.
I agree.
With all of my predictions?
I agree with Danielle and Johan.
Okay.
The only one I don't agree about is gender. I mean, like, you know more information than me, so I should go with what you said.
Listen, I'm gonna end it on that. My gut instinct is barely wrong, and you can ask my peoples in the live chat. I've been wrong occasionally, but when it comes to 90 days stuff.
Okay, I'll go with Linda.
So we'll see. We'll find out. You guys, if you have any predictions, definitely let us know in the comments if you're watching the replay. We love you guys so very much. Mondays are so fun. Thank you, April, my Monday night co-host and immigration attorney extraordinaire.
Don't forget to send me any immigration questions that you guys have. And check out my 90 Day Fiance playlist on my YouTube page with the same name, Holloway Legal, PLLC.
I love it. You guys definitely check her out. And 90 Day Fiance is casting. And so if you are anywhere out there in the world right now and you are in the middle of the K1 visa process and you want to be an international superstar, definitely hit up I should know this by now. K1, I'll put it in the thing. I think it's K1 casting at sharpentertainment.com. But don't quote me on that quite yet. I will look right now just so that I don't seem, you guys don't be like, that wasn't the email address. You said it wrong. Hold on. Please hold the line. I'm looking for it so that you guys, here it is. It is K, the letter K, 1, the number 1, showcasting at sharpentertainment.com. K1 showcasting at sharpentertainment.com. If that sounds like you, go ahead and email, go ahead and be on the show so we can talk about you.
And you can come and talk to us.
And if you're not considering being on the show, but you do have questions about the K1 visa process or any immigration questions, you're going to call and reach out to April because she has all the answers. That being said, bye for now, you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Still asking questions there. Night, ladies. Night. Bye for now.